The January 24th meeting of the Board of Education is now called to order. Please stand for the invocation. O God, we pray to administer that which is just in all educational policies, being ever mindful of your guidance, stir us to action with love, wisdom, and understanding. The pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome to this meeting of the Board of Education. This meeting is being televised live on AACPS TV and live streamed on the internet. General information and protocols for the meeting are posted on the sign by the doorway as you enter the room, so please make sure you read those if you have not already. Item number 2.03 is approval of the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? All those in favor? Okay. Item 2.04 is established agenda order, and the agenda stands as written. Item 2.05 is a presentation.
President Hummer, Vice President Gillen, Dr. Olato, and members of the board, good evening. I am Michelle Batten, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and I am here along with Eleni Dykstra, Coordinator of Visual Arts. I have the great pleasure of introducing this evening's board recognition. Before we begin, I would like to ask the members of the board and Dr. Olato to come to the front. As you know, and as you have seen firsthand, we have some extraordinary talented artists in our school system. We are here to recognize two of those students. They are the winners of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Visionary Kids Contest, selected from middle and high school students from across Anne Arundel County. As part of the contest, held in conjunction with the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Breakfast and sponsored by Anne Arundel County Public Schools and Anne Arundel County Arts Council and the King Memorial Breakfast Committee, students in grades 6 through 12 were charged with creating pieces through the film, visual arts, performance, or creative writing. Their theme this year was Keep on Pushing. Dr. King spoke of a world in which people are not judged based on the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. These young artists conceptualized that idea through their art form, and they did so brilliantly. The following high school seniors have each earned a $1,500 scholarship to the college, career, or technical school of their choice, sponsored by the MLK Breakfast Committee. Megan Paulus from Northeast High School for her artwork, Keep on Pushing, and Brittany Willis from Meade High School for her poem, Why the People You Care About Let You Down. In addition to our talented students, Arts Council Executive Director April Nyman and Eugene Peterson, Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast Committee member, are also here to celebrate with us this evening. I'd also like to recognize our two high school principals are joining us, Mr. Yor and Mr. Williams. As they all come forward, along with the school principals and art teachers, please join us in congratulating these incredible artists.
Congratulations. Good stuff. And you can scoot on over as well, and we'll make sure you can see this one.
Oh, and I'm going to get here.
And anybody else standing in the photo?
We're going to do another photo.
Okay. Okay, guys, here we go. Take a couple of these. Okay, great. And
Everybody go back and take one with us standing in front.
You guys stay here.
more pictures. Stay right there, guys. We're going to bring your principals and the breakfast committee and everybody in. So we'll get each principal by their student. We can get some folks on the side over here.
You want them next to them or behind them?
We can give our principals next to our students. Okay. Right there. Can we get teacher? Okay, he's with you guys, right?
Yeah.
You're representing here.
Do you want me to go down there?
And are you representing this student?
No, we're the Arts Council.
Oh, okay. Can we get one more?
Sure.
And hold on, right between you and Mr. Peterson, we'll put this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. See all of our board members? Okay, great. We'll take 3 more photos. Thank you.
Megan, if you could give your poster to Ms. Dexter. Okay.
Item 2.06 is school and community highlights. Anyone? All right. We were just honoring the artwork award winners from the Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast, and Ms. Sasso and I had the honor of attending that last week, and we thoroughly enjoyed the Old Mill High School vocal chorale sang, and it was really a lovely event honoring Dr. King and honoring some outstanding community volunteers and activists that were there. Oh, and I'm sorry, Stacy was there too. Ms. Corblack was there too. Also, Monday night we had the National Board Certified Teachers Pinning Ceremony. Our county had 62 new and renewing board certified teachers, which is phenomenal. We have the second most board certified teachers in the state, and the only one that has more than us is Montgomery County, and they're more than twice our size. So I think we hold up very well, and so very proud of all the teachers that came out. And I also had the pleasure to attend a PVA performance at Annapolis High School that incorporated music, dance, film, acting, and writing students as they performed. It's called Flash, short pieces, and I'm continually amazed at the amazing creativity and a variety of things that the students there put out. So that was a great event. And would you like to speak about the Milken Award? I'm putting him on the spot, but I'm going to let him call out a great thing that happened.
For those of you that have not seen the Twitter posts and Facebook posts and the posts on our website, we had an amazing experience this morning, and one of our fabulous math teachers, Allison Felton at Annapolis High School, was awarded one of the very few Milken Family Foundation awards. It is a $25,000 award, of which she is very deserving. Mr. Milken, Mike Milken, flew in from California to be part of the presentation. It was kept secret, and so we filled the auditorium with students and brought in many dignitaries, including the president of the Board of Education, who had no idea why she was there, under the ruse that it was about wellness, and we did celebrate wellness while we were there. But under that guise, Mr. Milken was there to award, along with the governor, our county executive, Speaker Bush, Dr. Karen Salmon, members of the state board and our own board. It was really, it was a fabulous, fantastic event to celebrate teaching and learning. And Allison is very well deserving. She had no idea that this was going to happen. And as she said in her brief remarks and fighting back tears, saying, this was not the Wednesday I was thinking about, right? She was thinking about teaching math lessons. So I was glad that several of you were there, Mrs. Hummer and Mrs. Sasso. It really was a fabulous event. So thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt.
Thank you. It's been a busy last couple of weeks in North County music. I had the pleasure of attending the Olympicum Elementary Orchestra and band concert, as well as their chorus. They're doing a fabulous job growing the program there. And our family also had the opportunity to participate. I'm sure, you've seen it all over social media, the brought to you by the Letter P performance that North County put on. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And seeing our own Anthony Alston as part of that, too, was quite a pleasure. I think the highlight, certainly for the young kids there, was bringing in the instrument petting zoo. That was very unique. And I'm sad to say we may have a future trumpet player in our house. Was hoping for the saxophone, but she picked the trumpet.
With a beginning trumpet player in the house, bless your heart. Ms. Sasso.
I just wanted to add to what Dr. Arlotto said, but this is the second time that Annapolis High School won this award. I think it was 2009.
That's correct. In 2009 was the last time an Anne Arundel County teacher won the Milken Award, Milken Family Foundation Award, and at that time it was also an Annapolis High School teacher, Miss Kim Jakovics.
And item 2.07, the Krask report.
Good evening, President Hummer, members of the board, and Dr. Lotto. My name is Connor Curran, and I'm a freshman at Oval High School, as well as Secretary of Education of Krask. On January 15th, Krask had the honor to send delegates to the 37th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Breakfast. We heard some very inspiring and powerful words by both elected and public officials. All with a similar message first conveyed by Dr. Lotto and this board. All means all. We as a community cannot forget this message, for if we do, history will repeat itself, as it has done many times before. Our school system has strived to include and celebrate our diverse constituency, and we must continue to ensure that our schools achieve equality. We as Krask members were exhilarated when we heard this message, because Krask stands for all means all. We'd like to send our support to Nina Huff, who is a finalist for student member of the Maryland State Board of Education We wish Nina on the best of luck on her run, and we know she will make Anne Arundel County proud. Last week we had a meeting with the Navy School Liaison office scheduled, but unfortunately it was canceled due to inclement weather. We're eager to discuss how Crask can work with student ambassadors to assist students from military families. After taking a look at the fiscal year 2019 budget, we see that an increase in teaching staff is necessary. As a school system, we are growing at a very rapid pace, and our class sizes are only getting bigger. With that, classrooms become crowded, resources become depleted, and this may hinder the learning process of students that are easily distract you. We urge you to listen to the student voice and in turn our requests that can help the Anne Arundel County educational system for the better. Lastly, Crask hearts are with the students and families that were affected in yesterday's shooting in Marshall County. We're thankful to be in a county where school safety is prioritized on a daily basis. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to represent the students of Anne Arundel County.
Thank you. All right. Next is public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on an item not on today's agenda may offer testimony during this public comment portion of the meeting. Speakers are allotted 3 minutes each and may not allocate their time to others. A tone will sound when time has expired. The board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences that may be watching or viewing this meeting. Student-specific and personnel matters are confidential and cannot be discussed in this forum. It is not the board's general practice to engage in question and answer session with speakers. For the record, please give your name before speaking, and handouts should be given to the board assistant. Robert Silkworth, Elizabeth Murray, India Oaks, Peggy Ullman, and Sarah Gatchell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, President Hummer, Vice President Gilliland, other distinguished board members, Dr. Alada. My name is Robert Silkworth, and I'm here once again this evening representing the High School Concerns Committee. Our January meeting was held on the 10th. We did have discussions about many issues, such as the involvement of the DC in the rating process, substitute issues, current concerns about school work hours, a review of the strategic plan, and recent quarterly exams, as well as a wish list for teachers for Anne Arundel County for next year. I did recently testify, ladies and gentlemen, at one of the budget hearings, and I did give you an idea of some of the items on that wish list, so I won't repeat that tonight. We also did meet with the ASI TAC Advisory Group on January the 18th, and we had some really great discussions about quarterlies, about the CCR College Career Readiness, which was very, very interesting. And we also had some additional recommendations about what can be done to help improve the sub situation at all of our schools. I was pleased, very pleased at that time to hear as well that some of our suggestions are being considered and implemented, such as we had a suggestion about a conference about how to attract, train, and keep very best substitute teachers, and I hear that that is under consideration. So I'm very brief this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I usually end with kudos, and tonight I would like to piggyback off of a recent letter from Dr. Arlotto about the importance of recognizing and appreciating the many Anne Arundel County stakeholders who work behind the scenes so diligently in order to make sure that things move along smoothly. The recent issue with the pipe breaking here at Riva Road underscored the importance and the value of all of these wonderful and caring individuals who work so hard to help us all. This includes not only the personnel here at Riva Road, but also the personnel out in all of the schools who dedicate themselves to helping us look good and do a great job each and every day. To all of these wonderful employees and stakeholders, we say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silkworth.
Hi, my name is Peggy Ullman. Good evening, and I have 3 children in the school district. I have a junior at Broadneck High School, and I have 10-year-old twins that are in the 4th grade at Arnold Elementary. You may remember that I spoke in November when a bunch of parents from Arnold Elementary came, and I have the boy-girl twins, one in each classroom. I specifically, as far as Arnold is concerned, I want to thank the board for looking into our concerns and considerations and for making the adjustments that you indicated were feasible during the school year. One of the things that I specifically asked for was that, previously that grade had always had 3 classrooms, and then this year when they were in temporary trailer classrooms, that they had been reduced to 2 classrooms, and it was too overcrowded. And I had specifically said nothing short of a 3rd classroom was acceptable. And there have been many changes that have been made. We've been moved into the school. They are physically bigger classrooms. It's still just 2 classrooms, and they're still way too crowded, but it is better than it has been. But what I was told at that time was, there's nothing in the budget to allocate for a 3rd classroom, and we just don't have the FTEs. Come back during budget time. Well, it's budget time. Here I am. And I have to say that I'm disappointed with the budget. I don't think that it's adequate. I don't think there's enough resources available to hire more teachers. I moved here in 2010. I moved here in part because of the schools and the reputation that the schools had and that the school system had. And I think, frankly, that it's suffered a lot in the last 7 years. I have a family member who is a recent graduate, has passed all his education exams and stuff and lives in Pasadena, won't even consider applying to Anne Arundel County Public Schools because of the pay and the working conditions and the overcrowding. So, and it's not just Arnold Elementary, it's the entire school system. I mean, from what I heard for this current school year, that there were 400 open teaching positions that had not been funded. So I really hope that the budget is reexamined and that, we have a lot of new growth. The other thing that's happened in Arnold is, every time you turn around, a group of trees is being torn down and houses are being built. And so we've got all these new people moving in, and we don't have enough, and we don't even have enough teachers for the current size of the classes that we have, and it's only going to continue to grow. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ullman.
Good evening. I am India Oaks, a parent of a 2nd grader at Hillsmere Elementary School, and I wanted to provide comment tonight on the pending proposed budget. I am going to just jump into my request, asking that the board adjust its proposed budget so that we are asking for everything we actually need and not just what we think we can get. And tonight, I wanted to highlight the need for more special education teachers and staff, and more counselors, so that, to cite from the current proposed budget, we can eliminate our elementary schools struggling with the social, emotional, and behavioral needs of our youngest learners. Yes, we need to put more counselors in schools where staff are dealing with 600 to 700 kids in their caseload. But we also need to acknowledge the type of students at each school, since a counselor dealing with 400 kids at one school is likely to have a much different level of need than another counselor dealing with 400 kids at another school with different socioeconomic backgrounds. The current proposal also specifically acknowledges that 47% of our elementary schools are receiving only the essential special education services required, with no additional social, emotional, behavioral supports provided for prevention or early intervention. If that is the truth, then we need much more than the requested 16 additional special education positions and 5 school counselors. I usually come here with a lot of statistics, but tonight I just wanted to end with a personal story. When I was 3 years old, before any testing, I was labeled as mildly retarded, and I still have a report where a speech therapist said I was stubborn because I would not repeat a vocabulary word. I do not deny I can be stubborn at times, but what that therapist failed to do was ask why I would not repeat a word, and learn that I had said it 10 times in a row and was not going to say it the 11th time. No one ever took the time to find out that, when I talk, I hear my voice perfectly clearly, so if I said a word 10 times correctly, why keep repeating it? Almost 40 years later, we have more students in need of more kinds of assistance, and we have more advanced resources. But unless staff have the time to find out, too many students will be overlooked, which can hinder everyone around them, or in the case of my son's classmate, have a parent pull them out of school completely since he was not learning anything for a whole year. I understand it's human nature to ask for what we think we can get, but if we do that, we never get what we actually need or want. I believe in never giving up, so you likely will see me for another 10 years as I keep asking for all that we need for our students, and I hope you will start having that mindset with the budget for the county council too. Thank you.
Ms. Oaks, we hope we do keep seeing you for the next 10 years.
I'll be back too. Good evening. My name is Sarah Gatchell. I am a parent of 2 children at Arnold Elementary, a 4th grader, along with Peggy Ullman's children, and a 2nd grader. I was also at the board meeting in November. I did not speak. I had some email exchanges with a couple of you, and I thank you for responding to me. I also wanted to tell the board that I certainly appreciate your response to our November letter, the parent survey results that we sent to you. I would like to thank you and Dr. Kubik for working with us to try to implement some temporary solutions to help our situation. I won't go into detail, but I echo pretty much everything Peggy said. I do agree that we are still falling short. I believe that, we are here again in budget season. I believe that you all have the ability on many levels to raise the bar for yourselves and to bring our students up to a level and a fair playing field. I feel very strongly that our students, not just in Arnold Elementary in 4th grade, but in some schools, I have asked for data from Mr. Mosier, and I've gotten it. I'm a data analyst. I've gone over it. I believe that there are several schools and classrooms and classes in jeopardy. What are they in jeopardy of? If they are learning in a negative environment, it will adversely affect their learning. Adversely affected learning is going to lead to lower achievement. I'd like to give you an example. In the fall of 2016, our now 4th graders were in 3rd grade. In this past fall, so year over year, they have, of the students that were 70 plus in score, that number has gone down in a year by 12.5%. This is in reading. The students scoring in a 0 to 49 range has gone up 16%. In math, the students that were 70 plus in a year have gone down 24%. In math, the students that were above 50, 150% have now moved down to the 0 to 49. And I'm sorry, this is Arnold Elementary 4th grade, comparing 3rd grade to 4th grade year over year, fall 2016, fall 2017. In science, the students scoring 70 plus went down 19% year over year. The students that moved into the 0 to 49 point range or score range was over 500% in science. So there are some numbers for you. A negative learning environment, it can be connected to that low achievement I just told you about. Unhealthy and poor behaviors, it's happening. Situations are not being resolved, at least in our 4th grade class. It's leading to student anxiety, depression. What else is going to lead to? Suicide? What? Drug use? What is going to happen? And why are we serving this up to them on a silver platter? I would like to ask you in closing to please be mindful of the words in your invocation when you are planning the budget, to stir to action with love, wisdom, and understanding. These kids really need it, and I hope you will give that to them. They deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reinhardt.
Ma'am, do you have a copy of the analysis you could provide the board?
I will have to send it to you because I only got a PDF copy, so a lot of it's handwritten. But yeah, I would be glad to, and I actually got it from Mr. Mosier, so it's available to everybody here.
I happen to know Mr. Mosier. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Murray. I'm here speaking for, well, personally my son, but I think I'm speaking for the entire Lindell Middle School. I receive daily messages from my son about physical fight, kids leaving the school just because they decide to leave the school, overcrowded classroom, gym. In the good day, there's one teacher with 54 students. Like I said, pretty rowdy students. My son has been physically attacked multiple times. Has got food stolen from his backpack multiple times. And I can go on and on because just Friday we had quite a few incidents like that, and it's not the only one. He does not want to go to school. He's afraid to walk in the hallways because there is not control. I spoke to many parents. We all have the same concern. We believe that the school is overcrowded. The teachers don't have enough support. The students don't have enough support. I totally expect a kid come home and say, yeah, you know, I don't want to do homework. I hate that teacher or that teacher because this and that. But to tell me they does not want to go to school because he's afraid of his own classmate, that's not acceptable. So I'm here to see what we could do as parents at home, teachers, people from the board, because like I said, I'm talking about my son, but is not the only one. There's many other like that. They are there to try to learn, to get better in life, hopefully be better than who we are, pay for a nice house for the mother when she retires. So, like I said, it's stressful, he's having anxiety on top of that. And again, this is my personal experience, but I'm not the only one. My husband is deployed right now, so we already have a lot going on. We do not need that. Our kids deserve a lot better than that. So I'm here to please ask for help. Thank you.
I didn't want to interrupt the applause there. So that's right. This reason I waited. Ms. Murray, would you take a few minutes and meet with our Deputy Superintendent, Mrs. Jackson, for a few minutes to go over some of the specifics?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Taylor Soriero, Betka Yates, and Janet Norman.
Again. Good evening, Dr. Arlotto, President Hummer, and members of the board. My name is Lisa Taylor Sorrero from Shadyside, Maryland. I'm here again tonight to once again express my disgust and disappointment in the board's decision to ignore recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics and continue to allow cell towers to be built on our schools. I don't know if you've read any of the recommendations from the hundreds of scientists and doctors that we've all sent to you from our town saying that it's a bad idea. Or I don't know if you're just listening to the sources that say it's fine because it serves some kind of agenda to make money or whatever. But when top experts are debating the safety of this type of radiation, it frustrates me that you feel that you're qualified to pick a side. I don't understand why it's your job to even decide about a cell tower. Why is there even this going? I don't know why this is happening. Why would you go along with Dr. Arlotto's decision to do this? I mean, I feel like this is a bad deal with Milestone that never should have been allowed to happen in the first place, if for no other reason in the world, but on the grounds of the Telecommunications Act of 1996 that says that you can't fight this if you want to, if you begin to get concerned about the kids' health and safety. If you start getting a bad feeling in your gut, things start happening and it just doesn't feel right. You're not in the telecom business. You're in the business of education. It's very frustrating. I'm very frustrated. I don't know why you're not applying the precautionary principle when it comes to the health and safety of our children. I feel like the kids are who you're supposed to be serving and you're letting them down. All the good that we do doesn't add up to a hill of beans if we're not taking care of the kids' health and safety. It doesn't matter if you're putting our kids at risk. If we were talking about sprinkling small amounts of lead in the water for a profit, I mean, you could argue that, well, there's lead, you get lead if you eat peanut butter or lean meats or tuna fish, but it doesn't make it moral and it doesn't make it right to sprinkle lead in water, right? So it's really no different. I don't see the difference. You're not in the telecom business. Please listen to the advice of the American Academy of Pediatrics and just do something about this. Stop this. It's just wrong on so many levels. I mean, just that alone. I mean, and there's a million reasons besides health and safety that you can stop this and why you should. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello. My name is Becky Yates. I had two children. They're graduates of Anne Arundel County, South River High School and Annapolis High School. And I have two children, a third grader and a kindergartner at Eastport Elementary School. I just wanted to share some personal experiences with our community. A few months ago, a child was shot and killed outside of my home where I raised my 4 children. And my son attended school the next day to all the third graders excitedly telling him, someone was killed outside your house. That was just a few months ago. The start of the school year, one of my first duties on the PTA was to sign a condolence letter for a child because they had lost their parent to gun violence. I'm sharing these personal experiences so that the board can recognize that we as a community are dealing with extreme situations. These children are coming in dealing with extreme situations, and the current funding does not seem to recognize that we need more teachers, more counseling, more services. We need after-school programs. We need middle school sports programs. And I'm advocating for all children of Anne Arundel County. And I implore you to think of these things when you are considering the budget this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janet Norman. I'm here tonight as a super proud Annapolis High parent. Thank you for being at the Milken Foundation Award ceremony today for my son's amazing AP Calculus teacher, Ms. Allison Felton. I knew when a teacher was sending out messages to her upcoming students in the middle of the summer, giving them resources and preparation of materials for calculus class, that she was ready to start on day one, and she wanted her students to be prepared to go with her. In addition, the letter of recommendations required by many colleges of the 11th or 12th grade math teacher, I'm sure, were completed by her for my son and many other kids on a weekend or at the end of a very long day. So we're really super thrilled that she's being recognized. It's telling of her character that in her interview with WNAV Radio, she mentioned wanting to give back from her award to her own school. It's likely because she sees the great needs in our school, Annapolis High, for so many things. But please let her keep the well-deserved monetary award. I have a vested interest in her being able to buy a house in the Annapolis area. I have a 9th grade Annapolis High math student, and that's not feasible on current AACPS salary rates for some of our talented teachers. Ask Mr. Moser for the salary of someone who's talented enough to teach calculus and can do it very successfully to sometimes inexplicable teenagers. I couldn't. Most of the engineers I know couldn't. And it's a rare combination of talents. But Google the Capitol's database of AACPS salaries, and you'll see how unaffordable it is for many of our Annapolis High teachers to buy a house here, anywhere in the area. So I'm urging you to consider possibly a recognition from AACPS similar to the Milken Foundation has done. Maybe it could be the Allison Felton Excellence in Teaching Award to Annapolis High. You've received the initial contract from Milestone for the cell tower here at the Parham Building. That's $25,000 received from you. And despite it being 900 feet from the Annapolis High line, Mr. Mosier assures me in my Public Information Act request that the cell tower is not within the Annapolis Cluster school system, and therefore no revenue sharing will go to the Annapolis Cluster. It becomes part of the general funds. The presence of the Parham Tower very likely precludes ever having a tower at the Annapolis High site. So in addition, you'll be getting upcoming monthly lease revenues. You've been getting monthly lease revenues from Annapolis Middle Cell Tower since September 2015, which have totaled approximately $77,579 from Mr. Mosier through December 2017. In addition, you got a $25,000 one-time site fee, which brings it to $102,579 generated by the Annapolis Middle Tower site to date, which neither Annapolis Middle nor Annapolis Cluster received any direct payments. The board's telecommunications policy was finalized on March 19th, was examined on March 19th, 2014, but not finalized till 2016. There was no grandfathering. I've sent you this memo to your email. Please take a look at it. There's great needs at Annapolis High. We have a huge proportion of low-income students. We're trying to get them through the PARCC tests that are required for graduation. A cart set of Chromebooks costs $9,300 or so. We really need them. And across the board, we have teachers like Ms. Felton who go every day out of their way to make our students brighter teachers. But too many of them have left. 20 teachers from Annapolis High left. And none of them went to AACPS schools. They all went out of county. People like Ms. Stephanie Gerhold, who was an amazing language
Thank you, Ms. Norman.
So please put in the budget the funds needed to pay our teachers a living wage to stay for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4.01 is an information to action item. Do I have a motion to move this from information to action?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. It's now an action item. Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend that the Board of Education approve contract number 18SC-018 for athletic transportation services to the 6 transportation providers listed in your agenda.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments? Is there, Mr. Reinhardt?
So just to clarify, similar to an earlier transportation question I had before, we are able to renegotiate within that initial term of 3 years with the anticipation of Crofton High being opened.
For the record, Alex Shekno, Chief Operating Officer. All of our contracts include provisions where we can renegotiate certain elements via change order, both additive change order to add additional services above and beyond what was originally contemplated, or to reduce the scope of services should that become required. So that flexibility is generally applicable to the basket of procurement actions such as the one that's before you this evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other board questions? Any public comment or questions? All right. All those in favor? Passes. Item 5.01 is administrative personnel appointments, and there are no appointments for this meeting. Item 5.02 is an action item, policy. Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. After third reading, I'm recommending that the board approve policy IIH, subject to final correction for style and format.
Okay. All right. Are there any board questions or comments regarding policy IIH, quarterly assessments? Okay. Is there any public comment? All right. All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Item 5.0, Are we 3 or 4? 3. Is an information item, policy DCA, gifts, bequests, and donations. Ms. Ortiz.
Good evening. For the record, Jeanette Ortiz, Legislative and Policy Counsel, and I have my colleagues here tonight.
Matt Stansky, Director of Financial Operations.
Carol Ann McCurdy, Director of Partnerships Development and Marketing.
And a policy DCA, gifts, bequests, and donations, is on second reading, and we received no public comment.
Are there any board questions or comments? Any public comment? All right, we will send this out, and we'll next meeting it will come for third reading?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. All right. Item 5.04 are items of legislation. This is an information to action item. Do I have a motion to move this from information to action?
So moved.
All those in favor? Okay. And Ms. Ortiz.
Okay, so just for the benefit of those viewing, I just want to explain the process and how we vote on legislation. As you know, the legislative session kicked off 2 weeks ago on January 10th. And so I will be presenting legislative exhibits for you at each meeting for consideration. The first section contains bills on which the board is requested to take a formal position. The second section contains bills for the board's information. So these are usually other local county bills, and so they're just FYIs. And I am not requesting board action at this time. And then the third section contains bills addressed by the board's legislative program adopted on November 1st, 2017. So accordingly, no vote is needed, and I will advocate on the board's behalf in accordance with the priorities in the legislative program. So before you, I have House Bill 103. It is Education, County Boards of Education, Removal of County Superintendents. This is a reintroduction. It was introduced last legislative session, and the board voted to oppose this legislation. So under existing law, the state superintendent of schools may remove a county superintendent of schools for immorality, misconduct in office, insubordination, incompetency, or willful neglect of duty. This bill would also authorize county boards of education the authority to remove a county superintendent of schools for the referenced reasons. As I mentioned, this board voted to oppose this legislation last session. Also, on this past Monday, the Maryland Association of Boards of Education also voted to oppose this legislation.
Do I have any board questions or comments on this bill? Do I have any public comment? All right. All those in favor of opposing House Bill 103? Okay. All right, motion passes. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments or of any other bills in this package today? Board comment? Any public comment? All right. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. We will be seeing you a lot in the next few months.
Education bills are coming out slowly, but they are coming. Thank you.
All right. Item 6.01 is a review item, the monthly financial status report and FY 2018 revenue and expenditure projections. Are there any board questions or comments on this exhibit? Okay, is there any public comment? All right, move on. Item 6.02 is also a review item, the construction status report. Are there any board questions or comments on the construction status report? I do have one. Our very rough month of January so far, did that delay any of our construction projects?
For the record, Lisa Seaman Crawford, Director of Facilities. And yes, there was some schedule adjustments. Some projects running 2 weeks behind. Some have float in them, which is extra time built in, and so it won't affect the final completion. But we'll be watching it through the winter, and everyone's prepared to step up their game if they need to meet our deadlines.
All right. Any other questions? Any public comment or questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Can I take one moment to introduce Kyle
I'm
Roop?
sorry.
He's our new Supervisor of Planning, Design, and Construction. He replaced Larry Alberts, who retired in October.
So welcome.
Thank you. Glad you're here.
All right. So that is the end of the meeting. This is a short night that we have. So our next general board meeting will be Wednesday, February 7th at 10 a.m. Our next policy meeting will be Wednesday, February 21st at 4:30 p.m. We will also have a budget meeting immediately following the board meeting on Wednesday, February 7th. You make a motion to
Adjourn. Madam President, I move that the board stand adjourned.
All those in favor? Good night, everyone.
Your blue looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
So we always talk about all these different things, and then to be able to see that at the market was just unbelievable. And I think, your division also did a scavenger hunt. Tell us a little bit about that, because, we added a farmer's market, and I think you just said.